This is the biggest mistake that I see most people make when it comes to a new branding project. It plagued me at the start of my career. I would have had clients who were underwhelmed. They'd expected something totally different. I've been lucky enough to do strategy for some of the biggest brands like Uber, PlayStation, and Apple, and have also been able to work for small family businesses too. The document that I'm about to show you has been a game changer in delivering a brand strategy that everyone loves. It's called the Brand Strategy Audit. But first, let me tell you the first 3 questions you need to ask on a brand strategy project. The first thing you want to know is what your brand strategy outputs are and what they should look like. I use this brand framework, a version of the nested strategy formula where we fill in the blanks for each statement. Business problem and business goal. Then inside that are the consumer problem and consumer goal. And finally, sitting inside all of that are the insight and solution. For brand strategy, we just need to change the we need to statement with the brand positioning as the solution. This is also called a strategy on a page, the framework that I use for most of my clients because of its simplicity and anyone in the business can make sense of it. However, there are other frameworks that you can use too, like the brand identity prism, brand key, and brand conviction springboard to visualize your strategy. In the Strategy Finishing School, there's a whole deck you can get a copy of for the different brand frameworks, their explanations, and with examples of how they should be used. Knowing the different ways you can show output to your clients and get a perspective of what's the best framework to use. Most of all, have the confidence that your strategy is pointed in the right direction. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in joining the 4,000 global community of strategists in the school. Now that we know what brand strategy should look like, we can then gather all the information that we need through each step. For the brand strategy on a page, that includes the business problem, consumer problem, insight, brand positioning or solution, consumer goal, and business goal. What does brand strategy impact? Brand strategy differs according to the size of the company you're creating it for. Let's see these two razor brands, for example, Billy, a small startup company, versus Gillette, a premium razor brand and is considered a giant in the category. Gillette has already established their brand positioning, so the remit of brand strategy would only be impacting a very small part of the business. For Billy, the remit of brand strategy would be massive, since we are building almost everything up for its position in the razor category. I use the brand strategy audit template to assess this. It is a 14-box auditing tool that I use to show the remit of what brand strategy should impact. Gillette would not need a company vision, a new corporate identity, a value proposition, tone of voice, visual guidelines, brand colors, brand name, or idea platform. Most of the 14 pieces won't be impacted by brand strategy. The bigger the company is, the smaller the impact of brand strategy. But on the other hand, Billy would need most of those 14 boxes ticked off for their brand strategy. The smaller the company, the bigger the impact brand strategy will have for the company. Let's use another example from Uber. In 2020, I was hired to do their global brand strategy for Uber Bus. It was one of the first jobs I took as a freelance consultant and without an agency behind me. It was scary stuff. I had crippling imposter syndrome because of my unconventional path as a self-taught strategist, but I faced my fears and I used the 14-box brand audit template to understand what I needed to do. It gave clarity on my job as the strategist. Firstly, it was to make the brand strategy for Uber Bus, not Uber. It already had the corporate elements available from the mother brand and is only a product under its higher brand strategy. That's already removing a lot on my plate. Second, brand guidelines are passed along from Uber as well, meaning I only needed to formulate the value proposition specific to Uber Bus. That leaves tone of voice, visual guidelines, and brand colors out of the picture. Lastly, outputs. Uber already had an established brand name and tagline. Then packaging and product innovation isn't so relevant for Uber Bus. I need to produce an ad idea. After doing the brand audit, it gave me confidence that my strategy is headed to a clear path and goal. This is only a preview of the process I teach in the Strategy Finishing School, learned from my experience as a strategist for the world's biggest agencies and clients. What goal are we helping consumers reach? At this point, you've chosen a brand framework to use for your output and have audited the pieces that will be impacted by brand strategy with the help of the 14-box brand audit. Now it's time to start your research. Let's go back to the brand strategy on a page and start filling in the blanks. The business problem and business goal should be in the agency brief given by the client. If you're not seeing these, you need to push back and get the client to articulate these pieces. Once we have the business problem and goal, we're really in there now. As the brand strategist, deep dive into the consumer mindset and ask, what goals are we helping consumers reach? I use the benefit ladder to do this. The approach is straightforward, a laddering up of the benefits that the consumers are getting from the business, starting from superficial product features, leveling up to the functional benefits, and on the top rung of the ladder is the consumer goal. This is where the brand strategy lives. The problem I most often find in brand strategy is when it goes beyond the 3-step benefit ladder. It ends up solving world peace and other bigger things that do not relate with why consumers use the product. The truth is they only care about their problems, and brand strategy should help them see how the product helps them with that. Let's use Coca-Cola to break this approach down. Coca-Cola's product features include its delicious taste, the serving size, the bubbles, and caffeine it has. For the functional benefit, we can list down the positive effects of drinking the soda brand, like the energy it instantly gives you when you're tired, the excitement and the compliment it brings to a meal. The consumer goal is experiencing feelings of joy through the beverage. That is why its tagline, Open Happiness, connects the consumer goal, and that needs to be informed by the benefits on the rungs of the ladder below it to ladder up to the overall point. The consumer goal is the main focus, but every step is essential. Along with the benefit ladder, we can also use the consumer goal cheat sheet, 24 internal and external goals consumers are trying to reach, all in one document. I set up this cheat sheet to help you go beyond features and functional benefits, but not overshoot to bigger things such as world peace, or goals that are impossible for the product to solve. We can see that Coca-Cola's consumer goal is in there, happiness, experiencing feelings of joy, satisfaction, or well-being under internal goals. Strategy Finishing School members get a copy of this sheet along with lessons on how to use it in actual strategy writing and in your creative briefs as well. And to give you a sneak peek, you can download the consumer goal cheat sheet for free. If you're interested in learning more, check out my upcoming free workshop at the Strategy Finishing School. All the links discussed in the video are in the description below.